Twoje miejsce docelowe jest właśnie tutaj. Typowy kierowca autobusu. Jesteś na miejscu. Zapraszam do oglądania. Jarosław Juszkiewicz.
Będziemy jechać prosto. So the building became the first seat of the Warsaw Stock Exchange. So the building is here on your right. And now the stock exchange is behind this building, and the building became the banking and financial.
Sami widzicie, jak ja mam tu ciężko. Ale spoko, City Tour fajny, fajnie tak po Warszawie pojeździć. Pozdrawiam serdecznie Czareczka na krakowskim przedmieściu. Nie, to jeszcze chyba na Nowym Świecie było. Albo jeszcze nawet przed Nowym Światem. I proszę o wytłumaczenie, muszę zapytać lokalnej, ale z tego co mi się zawsze wydawało, że ta palma to jest prawdziwa była. Trans pięknie stanął. No tu nie powiecie mi, że stał samochód za nim. Dzień dobry, Warszawa. 8 maja. Czwartunio. Jesteśmy pod ambasadą szwedzką. Jak ja nie lubię takich akcji na krzywy ryj. Na krzywy ryj. Może się uda. Może będzie spoko. Może będzie fajnie. Tu tam zaczeka pan, tu tego, tu śmego. To nic, że policja goni, że z ambasady gonią, ale nie, tu jest okej, nie? Tu jest spoko. Spoczko jest. Wcale nie jest. A więc zobaczymy, jak będzie ten City Tour wyglądać. 7 lat czekałem na to, żeby pojeździć po Warszawie. Dzisiaj nastał ten dzień. Dzień dobry. Dzień dobry. Dzień dobry. Nie mam pojęcia, gdzie jesteśmy. Znaczy, wszyscy pewnie wiedzą, oprócz mnie. Wiem, że jest tu szwedzka ambasada. Tam był plac Unii Lubelskiej. No i oni idą chyba do parku na spacer. Aleje ujazdowskie. Te sprawy, te klimaty. Nie wiem, czemu jadę w lewo, ale założyłem, że jak pojadę w lewo, to uda mi się kiedyś wrócić docelowo tutaj. Więc tak, na wprost Łazienki Królewskie. Co ciekawe, tam stoi autobus. Stoi też Łeło. Najlepiej było ich stamtąd odebrać. Ale zobaczymy. 20 minut, czyli 9:55. Teoretycznie. Teoretycznie. Jakoś we Włoszech to bym nie miał oporów, a w Polsce to jakoś mam opory, że myślałem, że do mnie machają, że to fani typowego kierowcy. Tyle radości. Tak właśnie, tak było. Więc 9:55 jedziemy, przewodniczka wsiądzie i wtedy jedziemy pod pomnik Chopina, zdaje się. Z tego co zrozumiałem, a chyba dobrze zrozumiałem, bo mówiła po polsku. Więc objedziemy sobie Łazienki. Dużo policji, nie wiem, czy tu zawsze jest u was w Warszawie tak dużo policji stojącej po krzakach na sygnale, czy coś tu będzie się działo, ktoś tu będzie jechać. To jest parking dla autobusów. Pojedźmy to sprawdzić, bo to trzeba, wiecie, trzeba jeździć i sprawdzać takie wszystkie miejsca. Aha. No to nie można zawrócić? Nie można zawrócić, ale pojadę w lewo. Strefa czystego transportu w Warszawie. I co mi to da, że ja tu pojadę w lewo? Czy to mi coś da, czy ja się gdzieś tu wpierdzielę zaraz na jakieś nie wiadomo co. No w Warszawie chyba nie jest tak źle, że jest super ciasno i że się człowiek zablokuje, zaklinuje. No zobaczymy. To co nam tu Warszawa przyniesie, to niewątpliwie bardzo ciekawy materiał, bo zawsze jest ciekawie, jak jadę pierwszy raz do jakiegoś miasta. Ale jak tym miastem jest stolica kraju, z którego pochodzę i w którym mieszkam, to wtedy jest podwójnie ciekawie. Tak. Nie, tu się nie zawróci. Myślałem, że na to rondałko tu się da wjechać i jest wtedy pięknie i super. Idź, jeszcze 3 piwa wypij! No.
phone or audio. You can also end in speech recognition.
W dupie, zamiast stanąć z boku. Jesus, witam w Warszawie. A papierosek tu i tego i ręką machnie i se pogadać musi. Chyba na ten parking to odpuszczę jechanie, bo to widzę 15 minut nam zajmie. 10, ale i tak odpuszczę, bo wypadałoby pojechać i pozwiedzać wszystko, co jest ciekawe tutaj, zobaczyć, jakie tutaj są rozwiązania, możliwości i plany awaryjne. Widoczność 0. No tak widzę, tutaj wybrałem dobrą drogę dla autokaru. Podoba mi się to już. Przed chwilą powiedziałem, że w Warszawie to nie ma tak, że się gdzieś wiedzie i jest ciasno. No to dzień dobry. Mhm. 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 No i co? I co ja mam teraz zrobić? I co ja mam teraz zrobić? Co ja mam teraz zrobić? No, to w takim razie cofam wszystko, bo w Warszawie też się da zaklinować. Żeby tam był chociaż zakaz dla ciężarówek, to bym się może 2 razy albo 7 razy zastanowił. No ale witamy w stolicy naszego pięknego kraju. Czyli jednak po Warszawie się nie da jeździć. Ja tu se skręcę, tam se wyjadę. No proszę, pierwsze 5 minut filmu i przygody jak we Włoszech. Powoli chyba trzeba będzie jechać z powrotem pod ambasadę. To zaraz nam 20 minut wyjdzie. Czy to nie jest to rondo tęczowe? Jezu, takie rondo i tu tramwaje tak jeżdżą bez pytania? Ja się tak środkiem rozpycham, bo tu jest wąsko. O, patrzcie, Radzun Nuchu, nadzór tramwajowy. A on tylko tam stanął, żeby na sygnałach, żeby nie płacić za parking. Aha. Aha. Tu jest jeden kierunek? Człowiek się nie zna, człowiek przyjeżdża i nie wie. jak w Paryżu. Wow, tylko kierowcy trochę lepsi, ale piesi jacyś tacy. I że tu zawrócimy. No dobra, ale to jest ciekawe. Tak jakby ktoś wrzucił w sieci film, jak kmini i kombinuje po Gdańsku. To ja bym zaraz mu tam napisał w komentarzu: o, jak ty żeś pojechał, o, to trzeba było w lewo, o, to trzeba było coś tam, o, co ty żeś zrobił. Nie ma. Ma być improwizacja. Tramwaj to chyba nie jedzie, nie? No, chyba stanę tu na torach, bo to już tak zielone już. Jego zielona nie interesuje. Ale to mnie ta uliczka w Warszawie zaskoczyła. Może nie uliczka, bo uliczka to była taka całkiem normalna, ale nagle tam rondo i słupków napierdlone, że szkoda gadać. A, już wiem, gdzie jestem. Dobra, już wiem, gdzie jestem. Po prawej poznaję budynek, tam kiedyś w restauracyjce byłem. Przestraszyłem tej karetki, a karetka stoi na buspasie. Politechnika. A Rafał Trzaskowski. Podziemia do mainstreamów 8 odcinków. Bank. Klapki, podróbki kroksów. Ja nie mogę, ale w tej Warszawie tu się dzieje. Lubaszka. To Lubaszenki, restauracja? Gdzie my tu jesteśmy? Okej. Okej. Któryś już autobus widzę z reklamą fit diety, fit sranie, diety pudełkowej, ale to zupełnie innej firmy. To jest taka nowa moda w Polsce teraz? Coś... nie wiem. Nagle wszyscy teraz fit zdrowi nie chcą wyglądać tak zdrowo. To jest zdrowy wygląd. Widać, że głodny człowiek nie chodzi, że kalorie wprowadza do organizmu, a nie tam jakieś. Fit Street. Studiuj na i-chipie. Aha, na i-chipie. Dobra, chip, że myślałem, że to jakaś japońska szkoła, albo co to jest, myślę. A i my od tej samej strony tu wjeżdżamy, w Boja Żeleńskiego, gdzie już się nauczyłem, że prawy pas do jazdy na wprost, to nie, to z 2 pasów tam trzeba, bo się nie da. Co to za święto? Straż Miejska też jakieś flagi miała. Co dzisiaj jest? 8 maja. Dobre miejsce, żeby puszczać, nie? Nie trąbiłem na tego z przodu, tylko na tego, żeby widział, bo zapierdzielał tym Suzuki. Jak się kogoś puszcza, to trzeba się rozejrzeć. I jak na przykład się widzi, że jedzie wielki autobus albo ciężarówka, która kompletnie zasłoni widok, to się nie puszcza. Taksówce też flagi. O co tu chodzi z tymi flagami? Chyba że to taksówka, że to jedyna warszawska taksówka z Polakiem. Japońskie restauracje. Lubię takie polsko-wschodnie tłumaczenia. Japońskie restauracje. Otwarte 21 luty. No właśnie, tego sygnalizatora nie chciałbym ścinać. A już za późno, żeby się rozpychać na 2 pasy. Przyjechał Holender do Warszawy i kombinuje, nie? I kombinuje. Kombinatoryka. O, ten trochę czeka. Teraz będzie lepiej trochę. Zobaczcie, no i stoją. No nie stanę, bo zablokuję. Ale stanę przed nim i mniej zablokuję, na przykład. Ale i tak nie lubię czegoś takiego strasznie. Dobrze, ten wyjedzie, a tu się przytulę bardziej. Taki City Tour.
Hello.
Cześć.
Cześć. It just gets so confusing with all the different languages. I tried though. I seen it like a month ago.
Dzień dobry. Dzień dobry.
She there when you're here. I'm really taking That's annoying.
So we've got three that goes economy premium equivalents. Yeah, we use two of them to get to business. Yeah.
She was fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. You will count or it's okay?
I'll quickly count what I'm doing.
Okay. No to czyli ja mam prowadzić?
Chętnie. Przynajmniej dzisiaj.
O,
Trochę tam ręką,
nogą.
bez gadania, nogą, okiem.
Dobra, ale ja się zapnę, bo ja wolę
Koniecznie.
się tutaj
Ja
na...
jestem straszny kierowca, więc
Nie,
zdecydowanie.
ale ja naprawdę mówiąc to, siedząc tutaj wolę się zapnąć, bo nigdy nie wiadomo, coś nagle wyskoczy. We are all?
Yeah, we're all here.
To już sekundę, ja się tylko zapnę. Rozebrać, bo się później gotuje. Nie przeszkadzają moje torby? Okej. Dobra, będziemy jechać w lewo. Okay. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes? Okay. So we will continue our tour and we will go now to the northern part of the city. So we will be crossing some beautiful and interesting areas of Warsaw. Regarding Warsaw, it is the largest city in Poland. It has 1.8 million inhabitants. They are official numbers. Officially, there are around 2 million people living here. And Warsaw is divided in 18 districts, neighborhoods, and also it is divided into parts by the Vistula River, Wisła in Polish. That means this the same river which you could see in Krakow when you were visiting Krakow. The most important river in Poland, starting in the southern part behind Krakow, close to the Tatra Mountains, and it is finishing in the north in the Baltic Sea. And we are on the left bank of the river, the most important part of the city, and also it is the part which mostly suffered during the Second World War. But as I told you, we are in the place which survived because it was used by the Germans, because it became the German district. That means everything what was used almost till the end of the war by the Germans, it mostly survived. Now we are entering to the part of the Royal Road, which is the most elegant and representative part of not only of the Royal Road but also of the city of Warsaw, where you will find many state buildings, embassies and so on. The first state building will be here on your left, the yellow building, which is the seat of the Prime Minister. Here in Poland we have a president and we have elections, presidential elections every 5 years. The president can be re-elected once, so the next presidential elections we will have the next 18th of May, so in a few days. And later, every 4 years, we elect the parliament, and the party which has the majority or makes alliances to have the majority forms the government, and the head of the government is the Prime Minister. So the Prime Minister works here in this place. Regarding the Polish Parliament, it is divided into chambers. The Chamber of Deputies, so we have 460 deputies, and the Chamber of Senators, we have 100 senators. Looking to the left, we have a street a little bit behind us where we have two ministries, the Ministry of the National Education and the Higher Education also, but also the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So the first building, it was used during the Second World War as the seat of the Gestapo, the headquarters of the Gestapo, the Nazi police, special police, so they were placed here in this place, in the building of the ministry. Now on your left side you have a white huge building which also survived the Second World War. It is the Ministry of Justice right now. You can notice that Warsaw, it is a very green city. Around 40% of the area of Warsaw is green area. Part of parks, we have also forests on the borders of the city, outside the city, and that's why sometimes we can find wild animals going here around. But you know, thanks to these green places, Warsaw is one of the greenest European capitals. Here you can find also another park on the right side. Ja bym chciała, żeby gdybyś mógł, Agnieszka, to gdybyś mógł tak troszeczkę wolniej za tymi światłami.
Od tych światów. Tak,
bo po prawej stronie, szczególnie jest ta uliczka, gdzie w głębi widać Sejm. To bym chciała im pokazać. Tam gdzie Matejki właśnie, to zaraz będzie, to wolniej, a z lewej strony w tym samym czasie mamy ambasadę amerykańską, a chociaż teraz już nie powiem. After crossing these lights in front of us, you will have on the right side on the corner the Embassy of Switzerland, but next to the Embassy of Switzerland there will be the Embassy of United States. So you will see it in one moment, modern building from the 60s, let's say, but not like the old palace. And looking to the right side, you will see the statue of Ronald Reagan staying in front of the Embassy of US. So here the Embassy of US, Ronald Reagan will be here on the right side, and here it is. And here now at the end of this street you will find the seat of the Polish Parliament. The Polish Parliament, which occupies a very big area. And we commemorate Ronald Reagan because in the times we were fighting against the communism, he was helping the Polish political opposition to combat the communism. He wanted to combat the communism all around the world. So as he was helping us in that, so that's why now he has a commemoration. Looking in front of us, on both sides of the street, you can find the buildings which survived the Second World War. So here in Warsaw, we have to mention what is original, because we don't have so many original places and buildings in Warsaw, as it was destroyed so much. So here you can find the original buildings. So the center of the city before the Second World War, it was like that. So with very elegant buildings, mostly there were narrow streets, and in the interwar period, especially in the 30s of the 20th centuries, Warsaw, the center of the city, became such elegant that it was compared to Paris. Paris was the symbol of the elegance. So Warsaw was called the Paris of the North. And we have only this small fragment of this Paris of the North being here in the southern part of Warsaw and being close to the Royal Road, or on the Royal Road. Now we have the square of the Three Crosses, and in front of us we have a church, St. Alexander's Church, with three crosses on the top, on the roof. But you know, most of the churches we have in Warsaw, they were rebuilt after the Second World War. And it is very curious that the communists, they allowed to rebuild the churches, they allowed to build churches also in that times. And most of the churches in our country, they are Catholic ones, because most of people, they declare they are Catholic people. But of course we have also churches from different religions. The St. Alexander's Church originally, it was built in the times when Poland was ruled by the Russians after the partitions of Poland, and it was much bigger before the Second World War, and during the reconstruction it was decided to make it smaller. After crossing the lights in front of us, very soon you will be able to see on the right side a very huge white building, rather modern, and built in the turn of the 40s and the 50s of the 20th century. The building became the seat of the Polish Communist Party, which was ruling here in Poland between 1945-1989. And after the collapsing of the communism at the end of the 80s, będziemy jechać prosto, So the building became the first seat of the Warsaw Stock Exchange. So the building is here on your right. And now the stock exchange is behind this building, and the building became the banking and financial center. In front of us, the Charles de Gaulle roundabout, the statue of Charles de Gaulle, the French general, is here on the right. But here in front of you, we have a palm tree. The palm tree, which is artificial one, and it was made by a Polish artist, and it was supposed to be here 6 months. But this year is the 23rd anniversary of the palm tree in this place. This palm tree became the new symbol of Warsaw, the modern symbol of Warsaw, and it is taking this place as, looking to the left side, we have the Jerusalem Avenue. This Jerusalem Avenue, originally it was the road to New Jerusalem. That's mean to a Jewish village which was existing in the 18th century, and after this village stopped to exist, so this road to New Jerusalem became the Jerusalem Avenue. So it is like looking to this palm tree, it is like saying, well, regards from the Jerusalem Avenue, but also it is like connected to this New Jerusalem, the Jewish village. Looking to the right side, behind the statue of Charles de Gaulle, we have some modernist buildings which became the seat of the National Museum of Fine Arts. So one of the few buildings which survived the Second World War. And now we are entering to another part of the Royal Route, which was completely destroyed during the Second World War. So everything here we have on both sides of the street, it is the reconstruction. And this area, Nowy Świat, New World Street, well, every time it was the shopping area with a lot of shops, but nowadays it is the restaurant area. That means that here we have a lot of restaurants, bar, cafes, the area which becomes pedestrian area on weekends. And you can find a lot of people here, especially in the evenings, in the afternoons, on weekends, or, for example, holidays. Not very far from here also we have a heart, not a heart later, but the Museum of Frédéric Chopin. And the heart of Frédéric Chopin will be in the church. We can see already the towers of that church, the Holy Cross Church. So I will show you in one moment. And now we will be entering to the first part of the Royal Route, and Krakowskie Przedmieście, the suburbs of Krakow. So the street which partially survived the Second World War, and on the right, i tu już będziemy jechać troszkę wolniej. And on the right side you will be able to see the statue of Nicholas Copernicus, a great astronomer, which is here, one of the very few monuments which survived the Second World War. And on the left side the Holy Cross Church with the heart of Frédéric Chopin. And on the right side, in one moment, you will see the entrance to the University of Warsaw, which is existing since the 19th century. The largest university in Poland, one of the best universities also in our country. And this is the old campus, the historical campus of the university. And a very historical gate and the emblem also of the university. Pojedziemy w lewo i sobie taki objazd zrobimy. Tu wczoraj siekierą zabito na Uniwersytecie Portierkę.
A słyszałem.
To właśnie tutaj nie będę im mówić. Now we will leave for a while on this Royal Road because I want to show you two important squares we have in Warsaw. And the first square, it will be the Marshal Piłsudski Square. That's the square which has the name after our national hero, whose statue we saw quite recently in front of the entrance of the Łazienki Park. I tu w prawo pojedziemy. The Marshal Piłsudski Square is the place where the most important public, official, military, cultural events are organized, but also it is the place where between the 18th century till the Second World War a very huge palace used to stay. It was called the Saxon Palace, and it became the residence of two of Polish kings who came from Saxony, Germany. This palace was destroyed during the Second World War, and only a very small fragment remained, and you will see it on looking to the left side. There will be 3 arches on the left, and the palace will be rebuilt in the very next future. There are some plans of making that, but if you look to these arches there, we can find the tomb of the unknown soldier. So inside these arches we have this tomb of the unknown soldiers, which nowadays commemorates all the Polish soldiers who are fighting for Poland, since Poland is existing, and it is said that Poland is existing since the 10th century, because in the 10th century Poland was baptized. So that's why we take this period, this time, as the beginning of our existence. Na placu teatralnym w lewo sobie teatr objedziemy. And now we will enter and we will cross another square, the theater square. Everything here, it is on the right side new, so post-war buildings, and on the left reconstruction of the buildings. So why the theater square? Because the building which is on our left hand, it is the seat of the Great Theatre. That means the opera house, the seat of the National Ballet and the National Theatre of Drama. The building, the theatre, it is one of the largest theatres existing in Europe. So you can find the theatre on your left side, rebuilt in the 60s, originally 19th century, i w lewo tam dookoła teatru. And on the right side, the reconstructed facade of the town hall of Warsaw, which was existing here between the 19th century till the Second World War. So only the facade of this building was rebuilt as it was originally, but the interior is completely modern. And it is the seat now of different banks and also and different offices. And now once again we will cross the Marshal Piłsudski Square. So once again you will be able to see the tomb of the unknown soldier, the remainings of the Saxon Palace, but also the Saxon Garden. The Saxon Garden, it was at the beginning the private garden of the king, especially the first one who was living in the Saxon Palace. And this Saxon Garden became the first public park in Warsaw, and it was in the 20s of the 18th century. And the building which is on the left side, the modern one, i w prawo będziemy jechać, it was designed by Norman Foster, so very famous designer, and it is an office building. Now they are renovating the building as prawo, because well, it was inaugurated, it was opened in 2003, so now it needs some kind of renovation. And you can see, you have a very nice view to the center of the city, na światła w lewo, i wracamy na krakowskie przedmieście with very modern buildings which are staying on the western part of Warsaw, and it is this part of the city where it is allowed to build these very high and very modern buildings. Now we are going back to the Royal Route, krakowskie przedmieście, suburbs of Krakow, which originally at the beginning, it was the commercial route which was connecting the old Warsaw with Krakow. And in front of us, one of the 4 Baroque churches staying here in this first part of the. We have to stop because somebody very important is coming here. Maybe the Prime Minister, maybe some minister, who knows? Well, maybe the car was free. There was empty, nobody was there. Okay, so one of the 4 churches, Baroque churches, 3 of them survived. They are here on this first part of the Royal Road. And on both sides of the street you will have the most elegant hotels built a long time ago in Warsaw. On the right side, the Bristol Hotel, 1901. It survived the Second World War. And the next building, close to the Bristol Hotel, it is our White House. That means the Presidential Palace, the building from the 19th century, the seat of the presidents of Poland since the collapsing of the communism. It is here in that building, after it was built in the 19th century, where Frédéric Chopin played his first public concert at the age of 8. Another Baroque church on the right side, and the statue, and the statue of our poet from the Romantic period, from the 19th century, Adam Mickiewicz. Being there in Krakow, on the Market Square, also you could see the monument of Adam Mickiewicz. He used to write very patriotic poems in the times when Poland was not existing, in the 19th century. In front of us we can see the old town of Warsaw, so later we will be there, and there will be in front of us the Royal Castle Square with the Segismundus column, so commemorating the king who moved the capital from Krakow to Warsaw. So there in Krakow they don't have commemorations of that king because they don't like him. And also you will see all this area, the tenement houses, and in one moment also the royal castle rebuilt, everything rebuilt after the Second World War. And on the right the St. Anne's Church, which is also called Academic Church. W lewo na światłach. Idziemy. And we will turn left, but the street which is in front of us, so it is the Honey Street. The Honey Street was completely destroyed, so rebuilt after the Second World War. And part of the buildings in this area, they were rebuilt after the paintings of the Italian painter Bernardo Bellotto, called Canaletto. Now on the left side you have a reconstructed palace, and it is the Bellotto Hotel. So it has the name, this hotel has the name of this Italian painter who was here in the 18th century during the ruling of the last king of Poland, Stanisław August Poniatowski. So the king, he asked Bellotto to paint Warsaw, and he was painting the area of the city, and his paintings were in the royal castle, and as they were like pictures with a lot of details, and they survived the Second World War, so that's why they were used to rebuild part of the buildings here in this area of the city. The paintings of Canaletto nowadays, once again, they are in the royal castle, and they are in the same place as they were originally during the ruling of the last king of Poland. I think that you already know that Poland was a monarchy between the 11th century till the end of the 18th century. But what is curious that since the 16th century the kings of Poland were elected, and they were elected by the representatives of the Polish noble class, and they were elected here in the area of Warsaw. They were crowned in Krakow, but two of our kings decided to be crowned here in Warsaw, and among others the last king of Poland. And now we are approaching to another square, which is called the Bank Square. And in front of us, in one moment, the buildings, they will be on our left. So the buildings which originally were from the 19th century, rebuilt after the Second World War. Part of them, they are now used as the town hall of Warsaw. So that's why on the roof of one of the buildings you can see a flag of Warsaw which has the yellow and the red color. So that's why also the public transport in Warsaw, like trams or buses, they have such colors, the yellow and the red one. The flag of Poland, it is white and red. The flag of Warsaw, yellow and red. So here you have the town hall of Warsaw on the left, but also part of the buildings here, they are used as the seat of the authorities of the voivode of Poland, of Warsaw, sorry, of Mazovia, because you know the Polish territory is divided in different voivodes. That means some kind of regions, and Warsaw is inside the Mazovian voivode. So that's why also the authorities of this Mazovian voivode they have their seat on the left. But you know the names of the voivodes, the regions in Poland, they are historical ones. So also this Mazovian name also is very historical, connected to the Dukes of Mazovia who founded Warsaw in the beginning of the 14th century. Well, we are now in the northern part of the city, which before the Second World War it was called the northern area of Warsaw, the northern district of Warsaw, and it is the area which mostly it was used by Jews. I następne będzie w lewo i zaraz w prawo, potem na światłach w lewo i tam gdzieś musimy przystanąć. You know that the Jews started to come to Poland in the 11th century. Here to Warsaw they started to come after Warsaw was founded, so mostly in the 15th century. And before the Second World War in before September 1939, so here in Warsaw the 30% of the total population was Jewish. This Jewish community in Warsaw became the largest one of the largest in the world. So after, for example, the Jewish community in New York. So most of Jews, they were living here in this area, in the northern area of Warsaw. Of course, there were Jews living in some other parts of the city. And after the Second World War started, Nazis decided to separate Jews, and they decided to create here a ghetto. The ghetto was a closed area surrounded with high walls of red brick, and it was the area where Jews were obliged to live. Nobody could leave the area of the ghetto. Only that Jews who during the Second World War were working in the German factories. The ghetto in Warsaw became the largest ghetto which was existing. It was existing between 1940 and 1943, but it was only at the beginning that it was so big, because later Nazis they adopted in the beginning of 1942 this policy of the complete liquidation of Jews, liquidation of the ghettos. So that's why they started to found extermination camps, because at the beginning they were founding these labor camps mostly for Poles, later concentration camps not only for Poles but also for Jews and Gypsies, for example. And after that these concentration camps, they were turned into, gdzieś musimy przystanąć, bo my wysiądziemy.
Tylko wysiadacie, czy ja czekam na was?
Tak, wysiadamy, a później musimy jakoś tu przejść i pojedziemy dalej. Okay, so I will continue to tell you more outside. So now we have to leave fast, okay, because we are staying on the bus stop. Dobra, to
bo stoisz tam do przodu podjadę zaraz.
Tak, w razie czego to jakąś rundkę znowu tak zrobisz.
15 minut, 10, 5, pół godziny.
You will need to go to the toilet or not? Because we have like 1 hour, 1 hour and a half more.
Possibly for them.
Tak,
Yeah.
to wiesz co, tak myślę gdzieś tak 20 minut,
Okej,
około
dobra.
20 minut. Dobrze, ja to może zostawię,
Okej.
tego chyba nie potrzebuję.
Anyway.
Sorry, I don't speak English anymore.
He just speaks Polish.
Now it's only Polish. Tak.
Oh,
Tak.
where's that English girl from then?
Dzięki.
Thanks, Paz.
Dzięki. Dzięki. Dzięki.
Dzięki.
Dzięki. Tak, tak.
Thanks, Pat.
How long did she say?
20 minutes.